What is going on there, kings and queens and everyone between? It's your boy Quizzerith, and y'all already know what time it is. Yes, it's another Thursday, another weekend on the horizon. Clout.Wav, episode 53, coming at you live. And it's not about just me and my beautiful face and my damn near perfect set of teeth, the pearly whites. It's about a man who's even more clairvoyant than I am. And you know, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. That's tough. That's tough with two F's on it. But here we have the one, the only, Subtle Fraudulence. What's going on, man? How you doing this week? Not too much has happened since last week as far as the news is concerned, but enough has happened to where I feel like today is going to be yet another ravaging good time. But how you been, man?
Oh, I've been all right, man. The Readmaster is here. We are here yet again. All right. I've been okay. I started playing Control, right?
Right. Quite right.
Nobody told me the melee in that game is the absolute most ridiculous thing when it comes to the physics of that game ever.
Well, it's kind of in the same vein as I don't know if you remember Mass Effect Andromeda, where it got to a point to where why even do anything else? Just punch.
Who?
That's all you have to do.
You say what is that video game? That doesn't sound like something that exists in 2021, sir.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's technically a game that I just made up out of the figment of my imagination out of thin air because I was so desperate for a Mass Effect sequel because the remaster collection had left me wanting, well, more. Because there's only 3 Mass Effect games, right? There's only 3, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I just made that up. Did I just have like a weird hot flash and dreamed of this experience that I had where the melee button is the only button you have to map in order to beat that game? Am I wrong?
A little bit wrong. I mean, there's also that 4th game that's coming some point in some time where it showed a character, and then they were like, "Yeah, it's coming," and that was it. So,
look, all I'm saying is the Andromeda Galaxy can't hurt me if it doesn't exist, right?
Exactly. It can't hurt you again because I saw it, and in real life, I saw it hurt you. So, never again.
I did not need to see a scene of a Krogan tactically twerking back at me in order to try to save his race, all right? His family and clan was digi-destined for death at that very moment. Once the booty cheek started gyrating, it was time to turn the game off, folks. But that aside, welcome to Clout.Wav, where we have fun here. We do a little bit of the trolling, but we also do a little bit of the educating. And the first topic on today's docket is something that many of you may know about. Netflix's trans employees and allies released a list of demands ahead of the walkout. Like, before they even did the walkout, which has already happened now, before they even decided to do that, they've already had a list of demands, and I have the list of demands right in front of me, so let's go ahead and see what these demands are quite right about. So in this list, you may be thinking, well, clearly they're talking about nicking the Dave Chappelle special, right? Getting all that pushed on the back burner, or at least getting some sort of sanctions placed upon them. No, that's actually not where they went. I mean, my guess would have been as good as anybody's. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad guess that you guys had there. So let's chop it up and talk about it. So the first thing on the docket was, and I quote, the past few weeks, it has become very clear that there are many places where Netflix still has to grow when it comes to content relating to the trans and non-binary communities. The Trans Employee Resource Group, which includes trans and non-binary colleagues, as well as our numerous allies, wants Netflix to immediately take the steps below to begin to repair the relationship between the company, our colleagues, and our audience. Specifically, we want the company to adopt measures in the areas of content investment, employee relations, and safety and harm reduction, all of which are necessary to avoid future instances of platforming. So here we go. This is where we start getting into the actual listed demands here. But they want to talk about employee relations, harm reduction, all of which are necessary to avoid future instances of platforming, transphobia, and hate speech, and to account for the harm we've caused and will continue to cause until the below measures are put in place. So the first bullet point they have here is content investment. Create a new fund specifically to develop trans and non-binary talent. This fund should support both above the line, ATL, and below the line, BTL talent. This fund should exist in addition to an existing creative equity fund. In case the investment in trans and non-binary content on Netflix comparable to our total investment in transphobic content, including marketing and promotion. Invest in multiple trans creators to make both scripted and unscripted programs across genres. provides internal processes on commissioning and releasing potentially harmful content or sensitive content, including but not limited to involving parties who are part of a subject community and can speak to potential harm, or consulting with third-party experts and vendors. So basically, if someone is going to have like a trans comedy special, or someone who's going to have a anti-trans comedy special, there could be people who are familiar with that community enough to where they can make a judgment call on whether this type of content should be allowed on the platform or not. They want to increase the ERG role in conversations around potentially harmful content and ensure that we have the best in-class regional support on complicated intersectional diversity issues. They want to hire trans and non-binary content executives, especially those who are Black, Indigenous people of color, BIPOC, in leading positions. Employee relations and safety. Recruit trans people, especially those in the BIPOC community, for leadership roles in the company, director, vice presidents, etc., and promote an inclusive environment for them. Allow employees to remove themselves from previous company promotional content, whether it be through allyship or diversal videos, blah, 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 blah. Eliminate references and imagery of transphobic titles or talent inside the workplace, including but not limited to murals, posters, room names, swag, merch, etc. Harm reduction. Acknowledge the harm that Netflix's responsibility for this harm from transphobic content. So they want them to acknowledge it, accept responsibility, be accountable, saying that we harmed the community, we made transphobic content, and in particular harm to the Black trans community. Add a disclaimer before transphobic titles that specifically flag transphobic language, misogyny, homophobia, hate speech, etc. as required. Boost promotion for disclosure and other trans-affirming titles in the platform. Suggest trans-affirming content alongside after content flag as anti-trans. So there you have it. That's about the end of the list. Then at the end, their closing statement is we are employees, but we are members too. We believe that this company can and must do better in our quest to entertain the world, and that the way forward must include more diverse voices in order to avoid causing more harm. The trans ERG looks forward to working with the company to make this a better, more entertaining place for us all. Sincerely, Trans Netflix. That was their the way they signed it out. So now we can talk about it. I don't know how many of you have seen the videos that have been coming from this place, coming right outside the venue over there in California, but that looked like a gigantic shit show.
Hell yeah.
Now, granted, you had some people who wanted to go over there and grief. You had people who wanted to come over there and be interlopers. You had people who wanted to just go over there and just absolutely grift the hell out of the situation and antagonize it by coming with their counter protest, by having signs and billboards and screaming, "We like jokes! Dave Chappelle's funny!" and like just doing the most for their 5 minutes of internet fame. And I'll have one of the videos in the YouTube description below so you guys can see exactly what it is we're talking about. But it gets to a point to where the crowd starts getting a little hostile. They're like, nah, man, we're not going to have this counter protest. So they take his sign, rip it up, throw it on the ground. But he still has the sign, like the stick sign, like the stick. Like he still has the handle for his sign. They just took the poster board off of it. So now he's just got a really long stick. Basically, he's got like a little 2x4, a little meter stick. And he has it in his hands, and then the crowd starts chanting, "He has a weapon! He's got a weapon!" And I'm like, he had a sign that y'all turned into a weapon? Now y'all screaming that he has a weapon, and he's not swinging it. He's not getting in anybody's face about it. So it looked kind of weird. I don't know how many of these people on both sides could have been paid actors, because it just looked like an interaction that wasn't real. Like, it genuinely just looked like this was an interaction between people who were plants. It just looked suspect. What were your thoughts? Like, you saw the video. Did you think this looked like normal interaction between humans or no?
So the embodiment of a actually Reddit post showed up to the protest here and decided that, he was going to do what he wanted to do best. He was going to counter protest by saying things that seem like innocent statements and being like, but I'm just saying I like jokes, or I'm just saying that this is this, it's not that bad, jokes aren't bad, it's just funny, don't you like to laugh? And then one of the protesters, who may have been someone like legitimate, did probably the worst thing you could ever do in a situation like this when you're demanding to be taken seriously, with demands that are reaching, like they're reaching like pretty hard when it comes to this. Ultimately, this dude was there and he was trolling. He wasn't trying to hurt anybody. He wasn't trying to fight anybody. He wasn't like doing the Proud Boys thing where he's like, fuck you, fuck Antifa, like none of that nonsense was going on. He was just sitting there saying like, oh, we love jokes. Jokes are funny. Jokes are okay. All that kind of nonsense. And someone took the sign, they ripped it. First they tore it off the stick, which was like everyone else just stood there and watched this person do all this, and no one was like, hey, whoa, like we're not about violence over here, like what are you doing? They just kind of watched him do that, and they're like, yeah, someone in the back, oh fuck yeah, and he's like, oh, this guy has a weapon. I'm like, who? You're being filmed. There are several people there who have cameras. There's several people there who have phones that they're using as cameras. You're being filmed. You're caught in 4K. You're caught in 20K doing all this shit. And you just thought somehow, some way you were gonna what, weaponize the security, weaponize the police to get this man out of here? Like, what? Why don't you just?
I didn't see any police or security in that video, by the way.
That was my thing. I'm like, first of all, I was actually confused that there wasn't any security outside of the Netflix building for this protest. So I guess Netflix honestly wasn't taking this as seriously as people may have thought. All the footage that I've seen, it didn't look like it was something that was like a big deal where they had people out there like, oh, make sure they don't riot or anything like that. They were just like, if they want to protest, they can have their peaceful protest, and that's nice. But the moment that you do something like this, that's even like an ounce violent, like people are going to take that and they're going to post it everywhere, and they're going to be like, you see, like, how can we take these people seriously when they're doing things like this? And now you've fucked up the whole movement, because when it comes to that list of demands, it sounds like they would have a better time creating their own platform outside of Netflix that would do all those things for them, because they want Netflix to fund the revolution right now. Like, they want Netflix to do things that other companies don't do at all. They want Netflix to do things that Netflix doesn't do for like other minority groups at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think for the most part, they wanted Netflix to do things that I don't even think Netflix does for like the majority, which would be white people. So it was strange. White people, cis people, whatever. Like it was strange.
They definitely wanted you to blast holes in the upper echelon, because they were definitely trying to get some insider routes up to the upper echelon with vice president jobs, because they said they want you to not only fund it, they want you to make sure that you can get more people who are representative of them. And I have no qualms with them wanting more people up there. Just because you are who you are, whether you're black, whether you're trans, whatever the circumstances may be, should not dismiss you from an upper echelon job opportunity. That should not happen.
It shouldn't.
And if that's how if they feel as though that is something that's happening, they need to talk about that. They need to put that in all caps writing. Now, if they're just saying that they haven't seen any of them themselves, and they don't think that anybody's being oppressed in that manner, then making this demand feels weird.
Yeah.
But either way, it seems like, they just want to have more say-so, more power, and feel like they have more representation, which I'm not gonna hold anybody up for, because representation overall is usually a good thing, provided the people who are allowed to do the representation are qualified to do whatever the job it is they need to do.
But that's the thing about the demands. They also want Netflix to fund creating more people who are qualified to do these things. I don't think Netflix does that in general with anybody. I don't think they have these like camps and things that are dedicated to.
Because I don't know if Netflix has like do they want a Netflix like talent agency? Like, are there just like a talent pool for just people who are only going to be in future Netflix productions? It's just a pool of those actors. Like, oh, we're not using Timmy Turnbuckle. Why don't you get Timmy Turnbuckle? See what he's doing. He's one of our Netflix guys. Hey, Timmy Turnbuckle, you want to star in a spinoff of Rush Hour, the series? Huh? That sound good for you, buddy? Like, but once again, I'm not in that industry, so maybe they do. I'm not saying that they don't. I mean, we already know we don't want to revisit the, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, where Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be playing a trans person, and there was the big hullabaloo about that.
I don't. Okay, I don't get why these demands are so like overreaching. Like why they think that Netflix has the power to do all of this, and they want Netflix to magically become this example, even though we still live in a capitalist society. And so Netflix is going to do what's best for their pockets, not what's best for like, society or,
Yeah, but see, that's a Netflix problem. I don't think there's a problem with necessarily the protests. Like the protests, most protests are built on the end goal of whatever the perfect ideal Atlantis utopian ideology being the reality.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
so this is not anything that's new in terms of a protest.
But as far as that goes, then why target Netflix specifically? If this is like, if everything that's shown there for the most part doesn't even seem to be specifically about Dave and the special that sparked this, it's just like they're just all of a sudden they're like, we're tired of all of this. We've been talking for years and years, and there have been no changes. So Netflix, now you have to be responsible for the change because you allowed Dave Chappelle to have this special, and it has harmed people.
Because at the end of the day, what they see is a golden opportunity to get a large pool of money to fund their infrastructure for their movement. And let's be honest, how many people do you know who are willing to protest are going to pass that up? Like be dead at. Like, how many people? Like, if you were working for a company and you feel as though the company did something that slighted you, even if it wasn't a slight, but it was perceived as such, and y'all stage a walkout. Trust me when I tell you, we have seen bigger companies fall to this. And it may be some fake kiss ass to the community thing that the company ends up doing, but somehow, in some way, there are some form of reparations done in order to try to smooth things over and make things right with aforementioned marginalized group.
Okay.
So why not take their chances?
What's their brokering like chip here? What's their power? Like, what power do they have here in this situation besides being like, oh, we work for you, Netflix. We're not going to work for you anymore until you respect our community a lot more, respect these people a lot more.
Their bargaining power is just the ability to potentially make Netflix look bad. But where was this energy for the whole how you marketed cuties? Because some of you guys behind the desk at Netflix, y'all saw the marketing campaign for that and y'all said, it's a dub, baby.
I mean, where was all that for Sierra Burgess is a loser? Where was all that for all the other Netflix originals that were fucking bad? Like, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, Netflix will continue to be Netflix to the majority. And there's a large group of people who are probably not even paying attention to this, or they ultimately are just like, this doesn't really, affect me. So why should I care? Or like, oh, that sucks. But the new season of You was on Netflix, so that like it's not gonna. It's you're trying to convince people to take something that they enjoy and just throw it out the window for you specifically in your community, but you're not saying like, here's why it's a good reason to do all those things, because people are very fickle. Like, people are not going to be like, oh yeah, I'll just stop eating McDonald's because that guy over there told me that it hurt his son, and or that guy who did that documentary, he almost died when he was eating Big Macs every day or whatever. No, they're going to be like, man, I'm not going to eat Big Macs every day. I'm just going to eat Big Macs like every month or something like that, and I'll be fine. So I will continue to eat Big Macs and not be like that guy over there. That guy was ridiculous.
like, I don't know. Like, it's just like mad weird because they also bring up this interesting detail here that says eliminate imagery of transphobic content in the office. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck does
what?
that
Yeah,
mean?
that is
Like,
there imagery of transphobic content in the office? Like, see, that's subjective too, because it could be like it could just be a poster of Dave Chappelle's special, like Dave Chappelle, the closer, and it's like a picture of Dave. Have nothing to do with trans people in the poster itself, but they're gonna see it and be like, that's transphobic because Dave said some transphobic things in the special.
and in that's the case, then it's like down to interpretation, which I don't really think you can have something that's really like a protest because it's not an objectively abhorrent act that's being done that people can obviously 100% get behind and be like, yeah, this is wrong. This is oppressive. We have to
Yeah.
stop this, which is like, I can understand from that point it's weird, but like, if y'all got like posters of like people saying there are only two genders and you're not one of them, and it's pointing to some like trans celebrity who's like photoshopped in, who's looking sad, then all right. Okay. Clearly, we can see there might be something to look at here.
I was okay. So two things. One, that first point. That's exactly why I was like, "Where's their power?" Because there isn't some like big bad like abhorrent thing that has happened where society like universally can say this was terrible. And Netflix should be reprimanded for it.
Oh,
Technically,
first of all, their negotiation power is, I don't want to say it's less than zero because that might be a little bit disrespectful, but it's kind of less than zero. And the reason why I say that is there was this whole stink about Scarlett Johansson. Yes, I'm going to bring it up again. Being a trans person in a movie. And people were so, air quotes here, upset that, wow, you're taking jobs from trans people, blah, 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 blah. And you want to know what happened? The studio, Scarlett Johansson, the director, all just said, all right, fuck it. The movie's not happening now. Now there's no movie. No jobs for anybody. And I'm not saying Netflix would go the same route and just rinse their hands of it. But when it comes to negotiation power, there's levels to negotiation power. Scarlett Johansson and Disney had to settle out of court because Disney was like, if you ever want to see anything, just settle out of court. Otherwise, trust me, Disney got the legal funds to keep you in literally legation limbo. You'll be sitting in them courts after court after court after court. You'll be shucking and jiving before you know it.
And the thing is, she has the money to like do that.
She ain't got that much. Not do it forever.
Yeah, and like most of the people who want to like join her don't have that kind of money. And so they don't want to like, deal with it. So usually they take some sort of settlement or they just don't say anything. And so now, Disney has been trying to make this woman look crazy for like, ever with this situation, but she doesn't.
Here's my next question. Here's my next question. In this little document here, they're talking about they want to have more Black, Indigenous, people of color, things. So like when we get the next inevitable retelling of a story that involves Native Americans versus cowboys, is there going to be some sort of a trigger warning for that about Native Americans will be harmed in this film? Or the infinite amount of, oh my God, why are you still releasing Black trauma films? Are we going to get trigger warnings for those? Like,
or if somehow, some way we get a season 5 of Dear White People, for example, are we going to get a warning for that too?
I mean, we could. Would I be against that? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't really give a shit because, I mean, let's face it, when you look at other platforms like the one that we're streaming on right now, Twitch, you can now sort by your stream by race. You can sort it by gender. You can sort it by which community you belong to. That has nothing to do with the gaming spectrum. So, yeah, I feel as though it would just be falling in line with the current strides that culture has made towards inclusivity. Is it necessarily the 100% end-all be-all correct move? No, but it's a non-issue move to where if it just happens to have a little white line of text or, a little bit of a symbol to indicate what might, quote-unquote, potential trigger warnings lie ahead, I mean, who cares? I mean, we already have that for gore. We already have that for problematic language, sexually explicit content. Like, these are things that already exist. Now, I don't really know how you would get that fully into the rating system of future works, but it could happen.
So this is a community of people who feel like society as a whole doesn't respect them, doesn't respect their existence, doesn't respect that they should be treated fairly in media, and that they, every time they see something that represents them, that it automatically is not a great representation. Um, there are some good representations, but they, like for the most part, it's like, oh, there's a lot of like transphobia, there's a lot of, homophobia, all that stuff. Oh shit, that reminds me of the second point I was going to get to, the office thing. Um, if somehow, some way, there's a cartoonishly cartoonish depiction of transphobia that's in the office in the age of social media, you don't think someone was going to like take a picture of this and be like, what the hell is this in the office? Like, but some crazy person,
This is that Netflix work culture they've been preaching about, and then obviously the picture would be there. Now, personally, I don't know what goes on inside that office, so I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I do.
Me neither.
So, like, they could legitimately have a culture problem, like we've seen at Ubisoft and various other groups. Fuck you, Ubisoft, by the way.
They got to call it out. See, in this day and age, if they're gonna go for the protest, they've got to go all the way in. They've got to call it out. They got to say this, and this is happening, and that's what like we specifically want to change in the office. Like if those things are not being changed.
Because here's another question I want to know from their ERG, or their employee resource group, is it says that they need to fund future and currently existing and increase investment in trans and non-binary content creators and their writing, their marketing, blah, blah, blah. And they want to invest in multiple trans creators to make both scripted and unscripted programs. This leads to my next question. Are y'all just trying to put your homies on? Is this a walkout just to put the homies on?
Yeah.
Which is a risky move, but it could pay off. Like, this doesn't seem like we are being battered and oppressed and run ragged out here. We just want to be, we just want to put that rocket ship on our people's back and just project them more into the, and like, that's not necessarily inherently a bad thing, guys. Like, let's not act like other protests haven't done it. Let's not act like this is like a mutual to the trans community or the LGBT community thing, guys. Like this is legit protest 101. Sometimes you overstate the slight in order to maximize potential profits in the future. However, when we use the word protest and walkout, you guys are using a Dave Chappelle special as the flagship for the movement. Like, if there's more, y'all have done a terrible job of promoting that.
Right.
Because as it stands right now, it just seems like Dave Chappelle was there. People are upset. Now, earlier, people were talking about the fact that there was a trans executive who was the one who was going to be pulling all this together and pulling these resources and starting this walkout in the first place, was let go. And people were saying, but why would you let them go? Like, isn't that a little bit transphobic? Isn't that a little bit messed up because they were organizing a walkout? Well, they fired this leader of the ERG because they were helping to not only do this walkout, but the company insists that said worker had leaked confidential information internally that reasoning has recently been disputed. So apparently there's people who are saying inside who are saying that that's not what happened. That is revisionist history. And trust me, that phrase will come back later on. But
very well.
But it's just like, okay, well, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Because last week when we were talking about this walkout, that is what we also heard. That this person had been leaking some confidential information that wasn't supposed to go public. And as we all know, that is a fireable offense for the vast majority of multi-million-dollar industry corporations, businesses, etc., etc. So that would make sense. But now we have people saying that no, that's not the case. But on either side, no one's, talked about any sort of tangible proof of either A, they're guilty and they did it, or B, they didn't do it. Like, it's all just hearsay to the public at this point. But the full letter from the Netflix ERG will be in the description field below. But yeah, guys, what do you guys think? Like, do you think like the protest was out of pocket? Do you think it's right? Are you as indifferent to it as many of us are? Like, I just, like, once again, I hope everybody feels included. I hope everybody feels like, you know, they're 100% on board. But I just feel as though a Dave Chappelle special, when this is what, the sixth one? I want to say this is like the sixth one that he's had on the platform, in which I believe 3 prior had very similar themes, and y'all were A-okay enough to where y'all didn't feel as though you needed to walk out for those. And then this one comes out, and all of a sudden, now we got to fund everybody else. Once again, personally, I'm all for it. I'm all for seeing where this goes. I think the methodology is a little bit weird, but we can't say this is any different from any of the other protests we've seen in the past, like, 2 years. Although, once again, we have seen other slights where people have literally died, and that sparked civil unrest. That sparked protests, people marching, etc. And that is very different from having a walkout because you're disgruntled with your employer. Now, what you're disgruntled about, I can't tell you what you can be disgruntled about. I am not the judge, jury, and executioner on that. I'm just saying the bargaining power for what you guys have right now just seems historically low in terms of what chips you have on the table outside of potentially guilting Netflix into any of the above demands. And 2, once again, I'm not sure all the details of the job that you guys have, but given the fact that Hulu's out there, given the fact that there's an infinite plethora of subscription services or even super niche, the fact that Peacock exists, I'm telling you right now, a lot of the jobs that people are walking out from under the Netflix banner because of this are probably some of the most easily replaced people in the company. I'm just saying, I want to see where this goes.
So as far as the organizer who got fired, so the organizer themselves, I believe, is not a trans person. The organizer was like a black pregnant person who hasn't been named yet, but they were fired allegedly for so the reasoning that Netflix gives is that this person leaked internal data specifically about the Dave Chappelle special. So like internal metrics on the special, and Netflix doesn't like leaking. They don't want their employers leaking like internal metric data. Like everything else, they're like transparent about, but like metric data, they're like, you know, we need that, and that data ended up on Bloomberg. Yeah, so that happened, and they fired that person who they believe is the reason why that leaked. There was a trans person in the company who was like an activist, who was, you know, I guess like tweeting about this and stuff like that, who was suspended by Netflix, but that person has already been reinstated by Netflix. So, well, as of like October 15th, they were reinstated. So, yeah, there's a lot of like gray area here that needs to be like resolved first. That needs to be like addressed before we can really be like, oh, Netflix bad, Netflix evil corporation, blah blah blah. You know,
where's the weird thing? There was an interesting take from a Verge story where a former employee said, and I quote, "All these white people are going around talking to the press, speaking volumes publicly on Twitter, and the only person who seems to get fired around here is the black person who was quiet the entire time."
And that was kind of a point in Dave's special.
Like, that's, so it's like, Netflix, unfortunately, is kind of proving the point that he was trying to make. And then the Verge article then goes on to saying that that's absurd and just further shows that Black trans people are the ones being targeted in this entire conversation. And then the employee was terminated on suspicion of leaking metrics to the press related to Dave Chappelle's special. Those metrics about how much Netflix paid for the closer and its production and how many people it reached subsequently ended up in a report on Bloomberg. While the employee had shared the metrics internally, they spoke out against the leaks to colleagues, worried that they might hurt the walkout movement. And here we are.
So the thing that I've been like seeing and hearing a lot at footage of the protests is like people being like, you know, specifically Black trans lives matter, you know, Black lives matter and Black trans lives matter, and I'm like, why is this like, you know, specifically being like, why are they harping that message on that particular message when like most of Dave's comedy special was him being like, this is specifically about white trans people. That's where my comments are towards white trans people. And then like as we hear more and more details about like the person who got fired and the people who are like being outspoken, it's like it's sounding more like a situation where the person who got fired was like, I mean, yeah, maybe y'all should chill a little bit. And then, you know, they're like, no, we're trying to protect your rights. We're trying to protect our rights. This is an injustice, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, okay, but you guys will be fine. I won't. And then they get fired because the other people just, you know, keep like, think that like the more that they talk and like protest, or the more that they like yell at Netflix about this, that is somehow going to make things better for the people that they're saying that they're trying to protect. But, you know, you've already got an example of someone who's taking the ire for you, and like a lot of those people haven't been like fired or whatever, and the person who was is like the least vocal about this whole situation, even after they got fired, didn't want to like, you know, expose Netflix and things like that. So it's such a weird and complicated thing where I'm like, I don't know what the like ultimate end goal is supposed to be of this. Like, what are they expecting to happen from this? Because you like, you know, when you're in a situation where you don't have enough power to get what you want. Like if I could say, yo, I'm gonna fight some dude in the street right now for $1 million, or I'm gonna go find Jeff Bezos so he can give me $10 billion. And it's like, you know, I'm probably not gonna get past security, or I'm probably not even gonna get anywhere close to the building if I like announce it and stuff. But I can still like say it on social media, like, yo, I'm going to get Jeff Bezos, and people be like, oh my god, that guy's going to get Jeff Bezos. He's trying to get money from Jeff Bezos. Oh my god. But like, ultimately, you know, unless I'm Superman, I'm not about to bust into the building and be like, yo, give me all the money you got right now, please. Because that's just I don't understand where they're expecting to be powerful enough to get the change that they're asking for by just saying, we're just going to walk out. And
here's the thing though, right? You could genuinely make that argument for any movement in the past. Like, what was insert groups here's power when they were a marginalized group?
Well, let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. John Deere is having a strike right now where employees are literally like, we're on strike, but they're on strike because of like conditions that are legitimately horrible to their livelihood. Like, it's like these people are literally abusing us with how they don't pay us, the way they treat us, how we don't get breaks, you know, all that kind of shit. You know, it's like people are dying and whatnot. You know, that's what we're protesting for. You know,
well, look, here's the thing. I said it before, and I said, here's the thing about capitalism and the underbelly of corporate America, okay? You have been told for years that Amazon looks their employees dead in the face and says, you shit on the floor, you piss in bottles, you don't miss time. They also ran ads on this very platform, Twitch, where they said, don't be union, be anti-union, because that's what a good employee should do. This is the same Amazon, which you saw people just being able to just do whatever they want to their employees, and y'all said that's all cool with that. as long as my Amazon Prime still gets me 2-day free shipping. So clearly, when it comes to what a lot of these other organizations have been doing to their camps, and Netflix airing a couple of bad specials, at least so far on the surface, I don't see where the change is going to come from. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, Dave Chappelle has also said that he's open to sit down with the Netflix group in question. And there's been conflicting reports of someone saying that Ashley Marie Preston says that she invited Dave to come to the table and talk about the damage she and others believe he's inflicted on the LGBTQ community, but she said Dave chose not to show up.
But who is she? That's the thing. Like I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Dave hearing this name is probably going to be like, who is this woman? Like, is she representative of Netflix, or like a specific representative of the group that's organizing this protest, who are like, you know, super mad at me and whatnot? Or is she someone who's just a part of the protest, who's just saying, why don't you talk to me specifically on my platform so that we can like have a conversation or whatever? Because I don't think he's trying to give content to people who are just trying to like use it for that or whatever, or people who are just trying to like have him on their show because they're like adjacent to the situation. I think he wants to talk to whoever's in charge to be like, I want to see where your head is at, you know, and then move on from there. Because most of the shit that he said in his special that was like bad, it was clear that he was just like not informed on any of those subjects in like a very good way. Like he specifically said gender is real, or what is it, like gender is
he said gender is a fact, and it's just
gender
like,
is a fact.
It's like, see, if you would have said sex, you know, you would have had a statement, but
he was talking about sex, but he was saying
gender is a fluid thing through culture, so it's not how that works. But
exactly,
I'm glad that you think it works that way, but all right, man.
It's like you clearly don't understand enough of the nuance in the conversation to be like an expert in this, and people are mad because they're assuming that other people are just gonna like think that Dave is the expert in all of this, when there's so many people who could just be like, no, he's not. Like, you could tell by some of the things that he was saying, he wasn't an expert. He was just saying, you know, what he thinks based on his experiences and all that kind of shit. And you know, ultimately, I'm not going to be like, oh man, well, Dave said it in his special, so you know, now that's exactly what I believe. It's like, no, he didn't even understand the J.K. Rowling situation, bro. Like, he made it sound like J.K. Rowling just said one thing in an interview. No, that woman was harassing the fuck out of like the entire community, like saying in every conceivable way that, you know, trans people shouldn't exist and that she doesn't believe in them and all that kind of shit. You know, so it's totally different from the way that he phrased it. And the way that he phrased it sounded like he read maybe like an article or two and was like, oh, well, that, you know, why would they get mad at that? You know, so it just seems like there's a lot of miscommunication going on here. And of course, you know, with the way that, you know, our media works, with the way that people can obtain information in various ways, in social media, through word of mouth, all that shit, everyone else is also like getting a miscommunication on what the actual points are and like what should be done to fix these things going forward. Like, it never sounded like Dave Chappelle was like completely closed-minded to being corrected where he was wrong. He was just upset about the people who were just being loud about, like, you know, who were just in the streets being like, Ree, how dare you say such things? You homophobe, you transphobe, you know, whatever. He's not trying to talk to people who are going to be like that. He's trying to talk to someone who will sit him down and be like, Dave, you were wrong about this, and this. You know, you've got to understand that this works like this. I get that you have your beliefs, and that's fine. You know, that kind of thing. So hopefully he'll have an actual conversation with whoever's organizing this, and you know, there can be like an actual like meaningful dialogue, so that there can be real progress moving forward. Maybe he can even help them achieve their goals. But right now, it seems like this is all going to like just fade away in like 2 weeks. You know.
Well, I mean, that's what I was thinking. But remember how you were talking about? Remember when you asked who is she?
Yeah.
And you were just like, who's Ashley Marie Preston?
I've heard that she may be a grift. So
Well, here's the thing. A couple of years ago on Twitter, yes,
Mm.
that website, she made a tweet that said Latino and Asian businesses need to stop being rude and fucking disrespectful. And I know it's a lot to ask for in California, but speak fucking English.
Hello? Hello?
So maybe this is not the person you really want going to bat for you.
I'm gonna say right now, whenever I hear that someone's in California, I'm like, oh, you're not in tune with the rest of the world right now. You're speaking from kind of like a privileged space if you're giving hot takes like that, because maybe like clearly you have this like sense of entitlement that everything should bow down to your will.
And apparently this is the person that was actually this is the person that sparked the whole thing with Andrew Yang and Elizabeth Warren, and people coming after them saying, why are you over here hiring racists? Apparently this was the person. This is one of the people that sparked that whole, why are you allowing racists and people who are absolutely disgusting towards Asians and Latinos to be a part of your campaign or your support trail? And I was just, so yeah, it's come back for us. So I have heard this name before.
The internet is
wild.
Forever. I will say something that is said in almost every episode of Law and Order SVU that involves a fucking computer. Anything you post on the internet is going to be there forever. It is impossible for it to be deleted forever. It will be there in some shape and form. Especially Twitter. We have fucking Wayback Machine. Come on, guys. Like,
well, you want to know the funny thing here? You want to know the funny thing?
Go for it.
Like it's actually kind of painful, bro. Like, it's actually kind of like, ooh, I don't know if you should have said that, but yeah. Some of these tweets have been documented by news sites. Hell, even the Washington Examiner has it. Now, I think these tweets have been deleted. I don't know if the originals are still up. I doubt it, but going back through someone's profile for 3 years of tweets, that's a lot of scroll. And I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
But the other tweets that people have documented saying that she has said are as follows. I love gay men, but this county clerk at Window G is a motherfucking... Ooh. All right, that's an interesting word. Rhymes with maggot. Is a maggot with it.
Oh, wait. What year? What year was that posted?
Allegedly, this came from 2019.
Okay, yeah, you know better. Like, if you're at this protest, like at this particular protest in 2021, and like 2019, you're using that word, nah. Like, because by then you already knew better. Clearly, you have the air of someone who already knew better, and you're still using the word because you preface it with, "Oh, I love gay people." It's like, all right. You could use something else, like.
Okay. So, someone has document, right? And they said, okay, all these tweets are from 2011, which would have been 10 years ago. So she would have been 26, 27 years old around that time. So still old enough to know better, yes. Especially given their disposition of being, I believe they are a trans person.
Maybe.
Yeah. They are trans and they had turned 36 in 2020. So that would have been, she'd have been like, yeah, 27, 28, something like that. But here we are. Things come full circle and the past come, because like then we start having to work to, how far do we look in the past? Like, does this person deserve not to be in the conversation now because of stuff they said a decade ago? We start playing that ball game.
Exactly.
And then it becomes like, can you be someone who's working at Netflix and if someone digs up like a social media account where you had said something like 10, 15 years ago, now you're blackballed from Netflix? Like, even though you've demonstrated that you have grown and you've become a much better person, like, are these actions of the past allowed to demonize your future? Like, these are things you have to think about. I don't know. It's an entire weird situation because apparently the stand up and the solidarity thing, the walkout that they had, apparently had gotten so much attention that they had to move it to a new venue.
Interesting. I mean,
So
that
yeah.
makes sense to me with like, it trending on Twitter and whatnot. But like all the interactions that I've seen make it seem like it was just Twitter IRL, like, and
Well,
it's
of
not really
course,
going to get
of
anything
course,
done.
because the video you showed me was somebody who came to the protest or the walkout with a tambourine and just was yelling at people, going, "Repent for your sins! Repent for your sins! Repent!" Oh, no, excuse me, not repent for your sins. Repent, motherfucker! Repent, motherfucker! Repent! And just screaming that like ad nauseum, and it's just like I feel like this person showed up just because they got to scream at people. Like I feel like you were not here for progress. But it
I
is
mean,
what it
that
is.
happens. To be fair, that happens with every protest. There's always going to be like, hopefully small, like, but there's always going to be like a group of people who are just there to fuck shit up because they're angry about stuff and they don't know how to like deal with their own anger, and they're definitely not going to talk to a professional about it. So like, they just show up to just be angry at stuff and be like, "That's right, Dad. Accept me." Oh, like it's just like,
And then they
oh.
break it, and then they break into the Capitol building, and then boom, there you go.
Exactly. Oh.
It turns to a giant shit show then, huh?
It sure does. And you got so many people who are like, "Yeah, I was there, but it's not that big of a deal." It's like, bro, you broke into a government building. You're like, "No, man, that's a lie. It's a lie. It was Antifa." Like, I fucking can't
We
believe that we're at a point where we have video evidence of people committing this crime, and most of them are just like, "Nah, man, that's fake. What are you talking about? That didn't happen. That's not how it went. You weren't there, so you don't know." I'm
your
like,
cell phone puts you literally at ground zero. Now you see here, my cell phone a damn lie.
it's like, bro, you
GPS
were
is a
live
scam.
streaming it. What are you talking about? Here is you saying your name right here. What do you talk? No, that's an Antifa plant replicating my voice. What are you talking about?
Have you ever been on the internet and scoured the term deep fake? It's a deep fake of me.
Oh
What do you mean
boy.
no one knows who I am?
Deepfakes have ruined society. I'm telling you that right now. Deepfakes have fucking ruined society. The horny person who decided that they wanted to plaster Emma Stone's face on
Oh
on
my
some
God.
random porn star has ruined society.
It's still real to them, damn it. But that being said, speaking of things that are real and the truth being revealed, have y'all not learned? Like, I'm confused. Somehow Trump has found a way to use his many pool of resources and decided that he is going to try to make his own social media. Yes, he's making something that's going to be called Truth. And when I tell you, when you look at what the website looks like in its current form, it literally looks like someone said, "I too like Facebook and I like Twitter, so I just merged them together." Like, it honestly looks like the entire middle of portion of that site is going to be filled with ads that say things like "horny single mothers waiting for you." Like, it honestly looks like the scam site. Now I understand it's not going to be running its beta and not going to be opening up to anybody until I believe they said November of this year, but it doesn't plan for a full scale launch until 2022, which is interesting to think about. But we already have Twitter. See, the problem with social media is we already have enough to sustain communities. And what you're trying to sell is that anybody and their grandma can just come over to your app, but they're not going to, because you have to build a deeply rooted installation base. And sure, I know your QAnon people are going to be there and your crazies and, you're very, very strong Republican individuals. But y'all learn from that thing called Gabber? Like, did y'all not see how that came and literally exploded in everyone's face? Do y'all not remember that? What was the other one that came before Gabber? There was another one.
There's Gabber, there's Gab, there's Telegraph. I mean, there are so many of them, man. Oh, there was the
it was one that was there for a while.
Yeah, I know which one
and
you're
I
talking
can't
about.
think of it right now.
Oh, it was something. It was something with a P, I think. That the red
Parler.
logo.
There we go. Parler.
What? Parler. That's what it was. Yes.
Is Parler still around? Because I feel like most of them came They were there for like a good 6 months, and then they disappeared.
Parler was cut off for a few months, and then they brought it back. But by the time they brought it back, everyone was like, "It's not the same." The deep state has ruined it for us. All that kind of bullshit. And so Parler's still around, I think, but I don't think as many people are on it. A quick Google search can fix this.
Because I feel like wouldn't Parler and this Truth app like just be doing double duty? Like I just feel like they basically are trying to compete for the same exact market space. Unless this is going to be a Trump fan club app, which that's what I thought Parler was for a while. I'm not even going to hold you, but
Bro, have you ever seen the Parler website? I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you the site right now because it literally has just like one of those stock bird's eye view pictures, and it's like the
I've
world's
seen
town
that.
square. Like what? What the fuck is this? This is the most basic looking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It still exists though. Yeah, so Apple and Android apps are still available for Parler. You can still create an account. Shit. So what are the values of Parler? Principles put into action our way. And it's got a picture of a man who may be a farmer. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Anyways, alternative platforms, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Well, something they all have to come up with a gimmick because they obviously have to do something in order to quote unquote stand out amongst the rest. Otherwise, you just fall into the trap of it's just Twitter, but with less people.
And Trump over here has unfortunately not followed suit with that. He's just making a tweet book. He's making Twitter with Facebook combined. He's like, "Don't you guys love it? Isn't that familiar? But you can come here and you can tell the truth." People are already making accounts on there to be shitheads, and all you need is like 10 to 20 edgy 16-year-olds, and you've got gore porn, you've got all kinds of like disturbing images and shit all over the website. So by the time your grandma gets to it, she'll be like, "Oh my god," and then that's it. No.
Here's the thing I don't understand. There's too many red flags with this already. Because there's already those malicious kids and those script kiddies already found a link that allowed them to prematurely sign up on the site. And they took Donald Trump's usernames. They took Donald J. Trump. They took Donald Trump. They took President 45. They took all the stuff that you could think of for Donald Trump and already started posting on those accounts' behalfs. So if your security is this bad before we even get into the show, when you actually open the floodgates, are y'all ready? Are y'all prepared? Like, y'all couldn't even protect a confidential leak, which tells me that either someone's already trying to sabotage you from within, or your security leaves an infinite amount to be desired. And if it's the former, well, this ain't gonna go well. And if it's the latter, this could potentially go worse, because if anybody who's malicious wants to come after you, I don't really think it's going to be a good idea to sign up on a site where you can be phished and you ain't even do nothing. Like you ain't click on anything. They just got your account with the greatest of ease. And the reason why I bring this up is because remember, Parler, they have their whole citizen verification system where they want you to verify and become a 100% Parler citizen so we can root out the bots from the real individual people on this beautiful thing we call Earth, So it's kind of interesting to know, like, maybe if you guys verify yourselves, or then you gotta verify yourself with a picture, like you see on a lot of dating apps these days. It's gonna be very interesting to see what would happen if you release something like this, and then once again your security is lacking, and y'all get caught lacking again, and then more information comes out about you. It's gonna be interesting to see how this goes. Do I want to root for the social media platform's downfall? No, of course not.
Do you want to root for the platform that is going to support things like this statement from Candace Owens of we should invade Australia. Australia currently, make no mistake, is a tyrannical police state. its citizens are quite literally being imprisoned against their will. So when do we deploy? You want that floating around on the website where you're, I don't know, getting your jollies and having your
What you
fun
talking
posting
about, man?
chat
She's
memes?
preaching the truth. Sorry, that was hard to say with a straight face.
Yeah, you're right. We gonna randomly go to Australia for no reason, bro. We got problems at home. All right, like we got things we got to sort out.
Look,
right now.
As the great comedian and wordsmith Eddie Griffin once said, "We are the United States of America, not the United Empire of Earth. We are not the warden of the 7 continents."
This woman thanked Chick-fil-A for serving her while she's allegedly unvaccinated. Like Chick-fil-A doesn't care.
Chick-fil-A
They have a
doesn't care.
drive-through.
But that's not even specific to Chick-fil-A. Anybody with a drive-through does not.
Exactly.
As long as you wear a mask when you go inside, they could care less. Because their employee safety is not a big concern. It's not. It's never been.
Did you know that flat earthers?
Oh God, here we go.
Okay, I don't even have to finish the statement. See, that's what I'm saying, man.
Did you know flat earthers are a marginalized group? Like, is that what you want? Is that what you want to hear? Because keep in mind, Twitter's not much better, folks. Like, just because I'm dunking on Parler and all this other stuff, Twitter is honestly just as much of a cancerous app, but it's got an installation base that's pretty booming right now, just in case you didn't hear.
Twitter and Instagram both have these problems, but you got, all you need is like 2 friends who are just deep in there, and they're just like the globalists don't want you to understand the truth of what's really going on. Those globe heads out there don't want us to understand that the earth is flat and that Joe Biden is not real and that everything is being done on purpose. That's right. The gas prices, the COVID-19, the staying at home, it's all done on purpose. They have a plan.
They want to make sure that we're stuck at home and we're fat and out of shape so we can't fight the real fight.
Now, I will tell you right now, I will be the first person to say, if these people want a platform to just sit there and like jerk each other off and like talk about this shit that's not real, and you post a bunch of like fake articles and like fake news like bullshit to each other, and then
but they already do that on the platforms that exist.
Yeah, but this would be a platform where it's only those people, and they could just have like, I don't know, group chats and group calls and shit like that, without having to give money to Discord and Twitter and the deep state, media and big tech, all that shit. Like if they want to have their area to do all that shit, fine. You guys can talk about that as much as you want, but the moment it becomes a situation where you're like, now we're going to go beat up Jeff Bezos and then Mark Zuckerberg, it's like, okay, but like line these pockets first so I can like get a cut, please. But like, maybe we should stop you guys from hurting anyone else because you're getting a little too unhinged. Hey, and man, I saw that movie.
They already showed that they can run up in the Capitol and suffer minimal consequences overall.
That's what I'm fucking saying. Oh my God, it's on tape.
Like it's wild to me that in short succession, because I think it was like a couple weeks before. I think it was around Christmas. The dude who was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna blow up this AT&T building," and his like ex-girlfriend had told him like a year in advance, "Yeah, my man, he's getting ready to do something wild out there," and no one believed it. They just said, "You're crazy," and then he went boom. He went boomba with the Roomba.
My whole thing is that now you have an entire fucking like ideological group of people who are trying to gaslight everyone else and being like, no, everything that you saw is not what you actually believe you saw. Your eyes are deceiving you. All right, there is no such thing as coincidence. Like it's bullshit. And they're all just sitting here telling you like, no. Like, we were there for liberty and justice, but also that wasn't us. That was Antifa masquerading as us to make us all look bad. And it was just like, oh, Hey, what about that whole thing of people like bringing like a noose to hang Mike Pence? What? No, there was no violence there. I was there myself. There was not. It was not a violent event at all. You have a whole fucking like video that's on YouTube that shows like all that raw footage of people getting like trampled,
Didn't
police
one person die
officers
of a
being
heart
attacked.
attack down there on the steps?
Yeah,
And I was just like, wait, how come this one isn't talked about?
it's because everyone makes it seem like it's not that big of a deal. Oh, and then everyone goes straight to Ashley Babbitt and they say that she was murdered and all this stuff. It's like, bro, the cop himself is like, don't come in here or I'll shoot. Like you're trespassing. Like I will have to shoot you. And she's fucking climbed through the window. Like, what do you think is about to happen when you're climbing through a window? Like you're breaking and entering into a building and the cop is right there. Like, first and foremost, what do you think is going to happen? You're breaking and entering into my home, and I have a gun in my hand. Like, wait, what? What? You think I'm just going to be like, yeah, let's have a conversation right now? Like, nah, man. It's like I'm gonna definitely shoot you in the leg and be like, hey, why the hell you breaking into my home? I'm calling the cops. Like, what the fuck?
I'm standing my ground, bro. You literally my ground. It's my house.
Exactly. Like it baffles me that we have this giant event that we all saw through live streams. We all saw through various like video footage, pictures, selfies, all of this shit. And people are just like, the people who are involved are just like, nah, it didn't happen. And the people who got arrested are now being like called fakes who were not actually a part of the ideology that caused this in the first place. And I'm like, okay, so we don't have any footage, any
Well,
tweets,
here's the thing.
anything.
Here's the thing. I love that. I love when that is their argument. They love saying that, oh, those people aren't really us. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Because I remember during the whole George Floyd riots, when people were saying that those guys weren't them, y'all were saying that they was cat. But y'all telling the truth though.
Yeah, the people who were bringing the bricks and all that shit, who were like busting store windows and whatnot, and we were like, those people aren't here for the protests. Those people are here to make the protests look bad. Here's footage of them actually like preparing to make the protests look bad. Here's footage of other people questioning them, being like, "Hey, you're not here for the protest. What are you doing? Like, what? Hey, leave that window alone." Here's all this footage, and they're like, "Nah, man, they're rioters. They're all part of that dirty ass Antifa trying to start trouble and burn buildings." Like, it's like, what the fuck are you
So don't get me
talking
wrong.
about,
There
man?
are some left people who are exactly what you said they are right there. They are those crazies who just want they want Viva la Revolution, but they don't want to sacrifice anything for that.
Exactly. They
Trust
just
me,
want to.
those people genuinely they do exist. But just because they exist does not mean that everyone who says, "Hey, you're kind of an asshole," is wrong. Just to get to dismiss them like that. Like the whole thing with Netflix, I'm not going to dismiss them just because some certain things don't seem to line up. I don't know how bad it is over there in that work culture. I'm not going to pretend to know because I don't work there.
Yeah, I need more. I need to know more. Like I need to know that Netflix like specifically did something awful. Like Quantic Dream with David Cage. Or so in court they mentioned that David Cage specifically like used the F word and like said all kinds of like horrible like homophobic and racist things in front of people all the time. And he, when they said that in court and accused him of that, he ran out crying. It's just like, yeah, you do that, sir. Yeah, you got caught. You're like, it's over for you. Except it's not, because he still has a job. So hey.
But it do be what it do be.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of things being how they are, like, so this whole Ruby Rose thing is like really confusing.
All right.
So,
I
I'm
got
gonna
you.
let you take this one. You
Yeah,
take
I
this one
got
from me.
you. Because I'm the one that like brought this up when we talked about it when it initially like broke out as a story. Ruby Rose was let go from Batwoman after one season. Allegedly she was fired from Batwoman after one season, right? And even around that time when it was announced that she was not going to be in the second season, everyone was saying it's because of all of this stuff that happened on set, all of these the dangerous things that in turn hospitalized her. At one point, she was in a situation where she almost died. And considering we have some things in the past where some, movie, TV producers and whatnot, directors and everyone in that area did not care about the people who were involved in a lot of these stunts that they were doing. And, people did die. Some people almost died. Like, I think Transformers had issues with this. The director who did the first Coming to America movie, he had a movie where this happened. And he to this day thinks that he did nothing wrong. A helicopter exploded and kids died. You can look that up to find the rest. But anyways, Ruby Rose was hospitalized during certain scenes for Batwoman, and she came out recently to say that the environment was not very good. A lot of people were not getting treated well, and there was a situation where she was in the hospital because she had I think she said she had some cracked ribs and she had some bruising, all kinds of stuff like that, and she needed to take maybe a week or two off to recover. And so they were basically bulldogging her into coming back regardless, and saying that if she didn't, they would have to shut down everything, and that they basically everyone who's involved would be fired. Totally not related to the whole protest going on with crew members for movies, television shows, and all that stuff. Those people who are striking right now also totally not related to a culture that would breed this sort of behavior where they're like, hey, yeah, you're all just gonna get fired because we want Ruby Rose to be here right now, and she physically can't be. Whatever. So instead of doing that, they ultimately fired her at the end of the season. And tried to make it seem like she was the problem. So after this happened, after Ruby Rose posted something on her Instagram talking about how it was such a toxic work environment and how it was really awful, she posted that. It went pretty viral, and Warner Brothers released this statement. Despite the revisionist history that Ruby Rose is now sharing online, aimed at the producers, the cast and crew, the network, and the studio, the truth is that Warner Brothers Television had decided not to exercise its option to engage Ruby for season 2 of Batwoman based on multiple complaints about workplace behavior that were extensively reviewed and handled privately out of respect for all concerned. So, Warner Brothers is basically saying, she's lying to you. That's not the whole story. We fired her because she was, getting complained about and whatnot. I'll tell you right now, Ray Fisher, someone who also complained about Warner Brothers and, some issues that he's had on set with, their cast and crew, etc. He said, specific people were named, and WB's defense is to generalize Ruby Rose's account by making it seem like they're taking wild swings at everyone in every department. Now, I'm no expert on hit pieces, but I know a WB whistleblower special when I read it. How do you feel about this, man?
Look, because it's Warner Brothers, and I know no one ever warns a brother. Warner Brothers is on that list of companies where it's like, I just can't trust y'all. Because y'all be saying shit and doing shit that is the opposite. And I feel like we've seen this song and dance with Ray, not too long ago. I seen how y'all handled the Snyder Cut. People were asking for that for years.
Yeah.
And y'all kept saying, "Oh, pish posh." No, never happened. And then obviously you finally relented. But we've seen, especially in Hollywood, whether it's Warner Brothers, Disney, or any other studio you can think of, somehow, some way, a lot of these movies, when they finally do come together, there was a lot of fuck shit that these actors and these people who are in the back writing rooms and these other doors that are behind and off camera, behind the scenes, have to deal with for that final production to even exist. And sometimes, even once it does exist, it's not the version that the person who's supposed to be the director remembered putting in.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get to that screening and they're like, but this isn't what I gave you. But hey, that's how it ends up. Sometimes like, man, that's rough, buddy. You hate to see it. But that's where they're at.
So you have this actress who, like, at the time she was like, a hot commodity, because the people just love her. They love seeing her in things, whatever, right? She's in this TV show, and throughout the course of this TV show, people are complaining about her performance and how she seems stiff and all this other stuff. But now she's revealing that there were reasons behind that, and that was very, very complicated to do anything because the environment was not safe.
It's hard to do anything with broken ribs. I'll tell you that right now.
That's what I'm saying. She literally almost died on set during a stunt, and this is something that was something that was announced. Like when she was initially hospitalized, they all said that this is a very dangerous stunt that she was involved in, and she was lucky to get out of it with her life. And nobody was like, okay, but why did this happen this way? Like what? Like who in the world was like, oh, she should do this very dangerous stunt for the sake of the show, and we should put her in this dangerous situation that she's probably not even used to. And after she almost died, it's like, oh man, that sucks. It's like, what are you saying? And then like, less than like a month after that, she's fired. You don't think those things are connected in any sort of way? Like, why would you ever say that? And now she's out here saying they're connected. The company is like, nah, man, don't listen to her. Listen to us, the big company who has every reason to lie about this whole situation to you. Like, come on, man. After we saw what happened to Ray Fisher with the Snyder Cut, where like he basically got cut out of his movie, up until this campaign released the original version that was supposed to be put out in the first place, and Snyder got to like work on the rest of it to like complete his vision, when he was unable to originally because of a death in his family. Like, come on. Like Warner Bros. Why do you think that we should be like, yeah, we trust you guys right now, and you guys are in the right, when we have this whole culture of like companies that are doing stuff like this lately?
Here's the thing: they provided no proof. They just said this revisionist history is poppycock and left it at that. Like we were just supposed to say, "Damn, you spitting."
Yeah.
Like until somebody shows me something concrete to the contrary, how you gonna jump on Team Warner Brothers at all?
Exactly. Like we have proof for Ruby because she was hospitalized. Like her, her CAT scans will show you exactly what she's talking about. Like I wouldn't want to work in an environment where I would die. So, the bag is not worth it.
And someone just says no one gives a fuck. Do it again.
Right.
That'd be a rough environment to be in. But speaking of which, rough environments, Razer is apparently trying to change what a rough environment may be. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I introduced to you the first ever subscription service, COVID protection program. That's right. Razer has come out with a Bane-esque mask with all the LED cyberpunk fixins, which is going to have your RGB lighting around the disc plates, and it's going to have 9 days of filters that you can get for a whopping total of $100. You may be thinking, all right, that's kind of sick. Hell yeah. But you only get 9 days worth of filters, so it's got 9 uses. Now you may be saying, all right, well, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. How do I get more? Well, in order to get what we would like to call more, you're going to have to spend about $150 a year to get tubes of, I believe it's 99 filters, I believe it was, or maybe it's $1 a filter.
It's 99 filters, yeah.
Which is a weird number to have 99 filters and not 100. I'm not necessarily sure why they chose that number, but I don't know. I guess it is what it is. But for $150 a year, you can have filters for all your day-to-day needs for your mask. Now, Honestly, on paper, on the surface, the mask looks cool. I'll give it to you. Looks pretty neat. I've also seen masks that do the exact same thing for less money on sites like Etsy. Now, granted, this one may be up to FDA coding and actually may be used for, full COVID protection and things of that nature. But a lot of those people who are wearing those aforementioned cheaper masks usually have a regular mask underneath it anyway in order to compensate. Now, granted, if you want this mask, this is obviously a pretty cool deal. Not going to sit over here and just turn my nose up at it. But there are also other gas masks that do the equivalent, and you spend a lot less money on the filters. I feel like $150 a year just seems to be kind of weird. Like, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But that's a lot. That's a lot of money to have basically a subscription service based mask.
Like it's okay. Like I get it. It's important to replace your filters in masks like this, but it's really weird that they. Well, first off, I didn't even know they had a convention. All right, this was announced at RazorCon 2021. But I know that they're just trying to take advantage of the fact that people need to wear masks to go outside to most places, and they wanted to take advantage of that and also be like, oh, this is really cool. You can wear it at Rays and you can wear it outside. You can be the cool person. And it's got all this high tech stuff in here to make it the most efficient mask ever. And hey, you've got to make sure that it's still efficient. So, you've got to replace your filters. They do say that they have packs of 10 for $30, but that's fucking the prices for this are insane. Because this is just a mask. This is something that's meant to protect your face from a disease, and I'm gonna spend $100 on this when I can actually just buy, a pack of 10 really good masks that are effective for $10, $8. Like, there's no way that most people are gonna hop on this because there's so many different people who hopped on this whole mask thing. Last year that there are all kinds of different high tech masks, different basic masks. There are all kinds of custom masks that are out there that cost way less than this. So ultimately, Razer did this too late. Someone's gonna buy it, but probably not a lot of people.
Well, of course they are. You got to understand that this seems to be one of those. It's Razer, so I think they earned a little bit more respect than that. But this honestly feels like one of those flash in the pan, strike while the iron is hot asset meme purchases for people.
Like look a wish purchase. So
look at me, I got a LED mask, and it's all right, that's great.
Yeah.
Is this something that you're going to see yourself using long term? Is this going to be something that you're going to be wearing to the office place? Is this going to be your day to day mask?
So it's got to be if I'm spending $100.
I mean, it better be. You better get your monetary value worth out of it. But it's just I don't know. Currently, as it stands right now, is they say that it has a surgical N95 respirator. In addition to its high tech, high bacterial filtration efficiency, the mask also has a fluid resistance, which protects against large droplets and splashes. Right now, you may be saying, "All right, well, how much can you get a surgical N95 respirator for?" There has to be some sort of cost protection against this, right? So let me go look that up for you guys right now. If you want to get a N95 respirator, approved, you can get these on a pack for Amazon, a box of 25. 25. Made in China, 95 filters. Scroll. You can get a pack of 50 for $170. So maybe it does save you money. Well,
no.
I'll be.
That's 50 different masks versus this one mask that's going to have filters.
Yeah, but these are actually whole masks. These are not just filters. These are the whole mask. You can get
Exactly.
70 for 150.
That's a better deal than having one mask that just has filters for $100. When I'm spending like $70 more for 50
Well,
of what this one is gonna do for me. Come on now.
let's see. It's 100 for the mask up top and 9 filters. And then 150 for 99 more filters. So about 108 filters and a mask. You're paying about $200, $208. Well, excuse me, $250. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And that's just for a mask for essentially a year. Meanwhile, you could have a count of 70, 80 masks and spend $70. Granted, you won't have all your fancy LEDs and things of that nature, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's
Do I need it?
also N95 masks over here, which you can get a 20 count for $21. So some of these are $1 a piece. Meanwhile, you have a Medic Pro N95 mask NEOSH approved. And you can get a 500 count for $900 or 100 count for $210. And these are, the medical grade, same N95, but these are the ones that are made to be comfortable, go over the head, blah, 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 blah. But you can get a 10 count for $27. So these masks, the mask game is already very saturated right now.
Exactly. It's too late. If they did this last year, then maybe they would get like a good bit of sales. But now, nah.
Well, I think they're just trying to. I just think this is trying to be like a luxury item because they're having a tough time selling their Razer phones at this point. So they gotta get their product on right now. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I dislike Razer. I mean, I have a Razer Mamba wireless right here. Like I got Mamba products. I got a Death Adder back there somewhere. So it's not like I'm out here sleeping on Razer.
But like they're making moves like, somehow they're like struggling or whatever. Like Razer has a lot of products that people buy all the time. I would be surprised if Razer is not doing well right now. So it's
here's the thing. The last Razer product that I had that wasn't the Mamba Wireless or the Death Adder was I actually had the Razer Wolverine 2 V2 Chroma. Sick controller. But it does not feel good in the hand to me. Like, it's one of those novelty things where it's like you play with it and you're like, this is neat. I don't really give a shit. I honestly would rather just have my Xbox Series X controller and just call it a day. But if it ergonomically fits your hands, you'll probably love that controller. But I also have a... Okay, it's not with me right now. It's actually way over there and I'm not getting up. I have my Astro C40. And my Astro C40, while heavy, feels infinitely better in the hand than the Wolverine V2 Chrome. But I don't know if they've announced any new controllers since then. So I'm not really sure, like I'm just wondering what made them come up with a mask.
Because they're just trying to hop on whatever they can to make money, which is weird. Because they do make money.
I mean, I genuinely like some of their products, but I know they like money. Sega doesn't. Still no Chow Garden mobile game, but that's a different discussion for a different day. But the only other thing in Razer's entire kit that I'm interested in is the new Kraken gaming headset. But it has a stupid feature that I feel like I would have on for the first day I owned it, and then I'm getting rid of it. Because the Razer's new Kraken gaming headset are bringing controller-like vibrations to your headphones. And I don't really know who wants your headphones going. It's not.
I don't know. Someone does. Someone wants that.
But we currently don't know how good the sound quality is going to be because they're still testing it, but it's an upcoming headset. But I think it could be interesting to get that full level of immersion. I think it'd be pretty neat. But I digress. Razer having masks. Like, do y'all want one? Like, do y'all feel as though y'all need to spend $250 just to have a year's worth of experience with an LED mask? Like, is that something that y'all are interested in at all? And it's also weird because it has like a clear faceplate, so you could like read the person's lips, which I guess would help in some cases. But do you really want to see like foggy lips? Like, I don't know. It's just weird because we've seen
It's
some of
also
the
got
images.
it's also got the filters on the side so that like sound can like travel out of it. That's the weird thing about it.
Well, I wouldn't say that's weird. It's meant so you can easily converse with people still.
Yeah, that's why like the whole thing about the middle and like you being able to see their lips move, it's like, okay, but you have something that allows the sound to come out. So what whatever. It's supposed to
What's the
look
thing?
cool.
No, I think it's like, then you get into that whole is it what's the word they use? It allows you to communicate with people who may only be able to read lips. Like, someone might be deaf, so they can't necessarily hear the sound. It's inclusive,
I'm,
accessibility option there.
yeah, but that's what sign language is for.
You're not wrong.
That's because that like popped in my brain too, but I was like, no, they have sign language, so they.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just one of those it's just like one of those things where I think it may have been overthought and overproduced.
Oh yeah,
So that they
yeah,
made it
everything about
clear.
this.
Like, I don't know. It looks weird to me. I just it don't do anything for me. But I
It's
can't
cool.
project the fact that it does nothing for me onto other people. So if this is something y'all are interested in, be interested in it. I just know I don't care about it at all. But pushing past that, what's Sony doing, man? What's Sony doing? Cause I'm really confused here because Sony has made a patent where they are going to allow viewers to kick players out of gaming lobbies. Now, I know what you're saying. What they're allowing viewers? How does that even work? Well, currently they have patented some technology that's going to allow people who are watching on a live stream, whether it be Twitch chat or Sony's own PlayStation streaming service if they ever create one, but it's going to allow viewers to either A, pay money to get people removed from video game lobbies mid-game on stream to have some sort of interactivity between the viewer and the game lobbies.
Bully Hunter.
or if you don't want to spend money, if you're someone who owns the game, you will get special privileges in being able to be in the chat. And whether it be having a lot of achievements, logging in a lot of game hours, you can then eject people out of other games that you are watching into other lobbies just because you felt like it. Now, they were vague in some areas and very specific in some areas. So some of the punishments may be if you are someone who was voted out and casted out of the game, you then get put into a lobby of other people who may better match your skill, which then makes me start thinking, are we going to have chat-based matchmaking? Is that what this is? Like, is this like, let's pick a game that everyone knows at least how it works. Let's say you're playing Overwatch, right? And you're a Masters tank player, but the rest of your teammate is Grandmaster. All the people on the other team are Grandmaster. Can the chat vote for the Masters player to get kicked out of the game? Then, what happens then? Is it now 6v5? 5 Grandmasters versus 6 Grandmasters? Or is the chat allowed to say, well, it's only fair we kick someone off the other team, and then they just kick a player off the other team as well? If money gets involved in this, can you just sabotage games? Like I said, a lot of details need to be divulged, but this is a stupid idea.
It is stupid. But to address that, apparently there has to be a 60% voting threshold that needs to be met before you can toss out a player.
Yeah, but 60% is a very, very low number as far
as
being able to manipulate the game in terms of if a player is allowed to finish the game or not.
Look,
and also,
just say that you have shitty security, you have a shitty concept of how to manage people who are just being terrible online, people who are rage quitters, people who are, just out to be toxic, all that shit. Just say that you don't know how to deal with it and you don't know how to reach someone to be on your team who can deal with it, because all of this is kind of ridiculous.
It's a very silly notion to think that people who are not even remotely near capable of moderation in their own servers on Discord, their own stream chats, their own message boards. And now you're going to tell them how to moderate the game? And you're giving legitimate randoms the power of throwing people overboard?
Yeah.
And kicking people into other lobby? Like, that's insane to me. That's weird. But Sony has had a history of making some very, very weird patents and putting out weird ideas and just seeing what kind of sticks. Just because they put a patent on it doesn't mean they're going to bring it to fruition and it's going to be something that's going to be a reality anytime soon. But this is the same Sony who said, you know what we're going to do, guys? We're going to make an Uncharted film. Woo! And you know we're going to get to play Mr. Nathan Drake?
Tom Holland.
And it's like, wait, y'all know there's more actors than Tom Holland, right? Like, y'all are aware that y'all don't always have to use this guy for everything, right? Like,
he's so good in the Spider-Mans, man. Like, he's so great,
yes.
you know.
And I would 100% be on board with him, you know, showing his robust acting chops. But the trailer that they showed for this theatrical release, this is not a Netflix original. This is not a watch it on PlayStation Now. This is something that is legitimately coming to theaters. And for whatever reason, they have decided that it would be in their best interest to cast Tom Holland. But when they showed the trailer, Tom Holland was acting more like Peter Parker than he was Nathan Drake. And it was just really weird. Maybe we all didn't play the same Uncharted. Maybe there's an Uncharted where my man was all about the comedy and was all about, you know, the expression of the whimsy and, you know, trying to be like a discount Indiana Jones or something like that. But that's not the vibes that I got from those games. And now maybe this is just something different. Maybe this is supposed to be like an adaptation where they're not really taking into account anything that actually happened in the games and just doing their own thing with the same characters, which bold move, Cotton, but this is the same Sony that I think is still trying to get that Last of Us TV show produced on Netflix, and they've already started filming on that. So, God, who knows what they're going to do with that? Actually, now that I think about it, but you know, Godspeed to them. But like, what did you think of the trailer? Because when I saw it, I was like, this looks like one of those come on me with a whimsical journey while we try to find the lost city of Atlantis type journeys, as opposed to the real shit that the Uncharted series then evolved into.
Yeah. There's a weird thing about video game movies where I guess someone on the team is just like, we have to use CGI for as much of it as possible. And like throughout this trailer, I was just like, why are they using CGI here? Like, why is Tom Holland now like full CGI in this scene? This looks really weird. It's not even that it's CGI. It looks like cheap. There were like some questionable decisions here. The movie seems like it'll be all right. You know, it seems like it'll be fine. But you know, there seemed to be like a little bit of nice chemistry between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, but I don't know. This could have been like an original movie, and it would have been like okay, and we would have watched it and be like, yeah, oh, that new Tom Holland movie. Oh, all right, the heist movie. Oh, that's cool. You know, whatever. As far as an Uncharted movie goes, it seems like it's like just all over the place. Like some characters who I didn't expect to be in this movie because they're not in like, you know, the early parts of the series are just like there, and I don't know. I'm not even sure if it's like going to be entirely accurate to Uncharted, or if it's going to be like just like a new thing as far as their adventure that goes here, and it's just like Uncharted-esque. There was a scene about, you know, him outside of the plane and hopping on the crates and then the car and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's cute, but this is all going to be very weird in the final product.
That's rough.
Yeah, I don't know. The movie is going to come and go. To be completely honest, it's going to come and go.
Personally, I think you're in the. I think you're on the. I think it's just gonna it's gonna exist. We're gonna look at it and be like, that's nice. And then Tuesday's gonna show up, and then the world will be none the wiser.
Yeah,
Like
we'll talk about it for like a week.
I don't think it's gonna be that much of a big deal. I mean, it's gonna have the same type of release like Halloween Kills. It existed, and we've all just agreed to just not acknowledge it. We just keep on going.
I agree. I fully agree.
But yeah, I think that's about it for this week. We had a very very long and powerful start to this episode, and then we started talking about a subscription for a mask. But here's the thing, like if masks don't become like, you know, a part of like regular society, you're just gonna have a lot of filters. You're just gonna have filters floating around, man. Like, and I don't really know if there's like a time limit on filters on when you have to use them. I know some of y'all are not. Once y'all open up boxes, y'all are not the best with sealing them back up.
All right, yeah, that's true.
So
I don't know, man. Look, masks are fine. You know, if you're sick, wear a mask. Like, this is not about COVID specifically. If you're sick, wear a mask. Yeah, you know, just be respectful. Don't sit here and make it some like weird political statement. The left is telling me to wear a mask because they're all liberals and they're all snowflakes and blah. It's like, who the fuck
hey,
cares?
look, man, condoms have expiration dates. I don't know if y'all knew that, but that's the thing. I don't know if y'all knew that, but now you know.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Now, granted, it takes like 3 to 5 years, but still, it's a thing. Protect your penis.
Whoa. Yeah.
Hey man, trust me. You don't want to have like the X-Men origin story that the penis just got molded to the condom. Like, you don't want that.
What? No. Whoa. Anyways, on that note,
you'll never feel pleasure again.
So on that note, this was the Clout.Wav podcast, right? This will be on YouTube by next Thursday at the latest. Thanks for being here. The internet was a mistake. If you go on Twitter and you see someone say some like spicy shit, take 2 seconds to read this and be like, do I really want to give away at 10 plus minutes of my day to respond to this and then respond to everything else that comes with it? Just keep that in mind.
Sometimes it's okay to acknowledge that someone's an idiot and close the tab. Which means y'all probably did that to us about 4 episodes ago, right? Well, at least to me. This guy's a genius. Like, this guy's a work of art. This guy's the GOAT. You can close the tab on me. I'm cool with that.
It's totally fine to just look at it and be like, yeah, I don't need to respond to this. They're not going to change. They're not going to be different. I'm not going to change their life. I'm just going to go enjoy mine.
Facts. But yeah, we will see you guys next week. And then, well, actually, no, we will not see you guys next week because Anime Weekend Atlanta is happening next week. And that's where we'll be.
We won't be here. We won't have a podcast, but, you know, we'll come back and tell you everything crazy that happened. So, yeah.
And trust me, given what I've seen on a couple of Discord servers, it's going to be a foolish weekend. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Discord service. All right. Have a happy Halloween, everybody. We'll see you after all the debauchery happens.
And trust me, we will survive because we are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.